Hi, my name is Ian Stringer and I'm the creative lead and project lead for PREVAIL. PREVAIL is a story told through music and dance written by myself. PREVAIL is essentially a love story. It's a story about two men who are discovered to be together, they're in a relationship, and they are captured, and during the struggle, during this ambush, one escapes and the other is taken back, trialed, imprisoned and punished, and the other guy doesn't know where he's been taken to, or indeed if he'll ever see him again. But ultimately it's a positive outcome, it's a success story, it's a story where they do meet again and they do overcome strife, they do fight for their right to be together. And the overarching theme is that it's about how love conquers all. I finished writing the plot and the music around 2011, I think. And I'd never done this before at all. The reason I ended up doing it was because my background is in singing and dancing. It's what I always wanted to do and indeed did do for a short while. Not terribly successfully, but the drive has always been there and never left me, and I eventually got a regular job, but still wanted to be involved in theatre, in music, in some way. And so I decided to have a go at writing something. And the music took an awful long time. It took a whole year to write. And not just write, but in terms of researching and deciding exactly what I wanted to do. But then once I'd written the music and once I'd sort of structured the plot, what then? Where to go next? I'd never done anything like this before. So I thought, well, if you're going to dream, dream big. That's how the saying goes. So I decided to approach dance companies and theatres, naively so, having no track record or experience of this before, but I just thought, just bite the bullet and do it anyway. And it wasn't surprising that I didn't get anywhere at all. Well, actually that's not true. There was one very large theatre company, dance company, that showed some interest and they listened to the music and gave a little bit of advice, but ultimately said no as well. But that gave me a glimmer of hope that people would be willing to listen, maybe if I could just get my foot through the door. And then round about, I think 2015, I approached Wandsworth Council and I just explained that I had this idea and I didn't know what to do, where to go. And they said, you've got it all back to front. You need to start small. You need to prove yourself really and be trusted with money and be trusted with a project and show that you can work with people and that you can handle this. You have no track record. So what you could do, what they suggested to me was I could apply for an arts grant, and with that money, that public money, I could do a workshop. I could show or create a sample of the work I'd like to do and present that to a private audience and see where we go from there. So that is what I started to do. However, I was given about a week's notice because the deadline for the applications for the arts grant were a week away, so the pressure was on. But I did get the application in, and I did win a arts grant, and it was fantastic because it was a real learning experience. I started to get my foot in the door, and I started to learn how things work, in addition to having the project to develop. So I hired a theatre, I hired some performers, went through all the auditions, not knowing what to do, having never done it before, just took one step at a time, spoke to some people that had already done it before and said, what do I do next? How do I do A? How do I do B? How do I do C? And just kept chipping away. But yeah, staged a workshop at the Putney Arts Theatre in London and performed it to a private audience and had a Q&A afterwards, and it was very successful, lots of good feedback. And at that time, the social media sort of posts and news bulletins that was generated from that was spotted by St Helens. There was an arts in libraries programme and a cultural hubs programme running in St Helens. The sort of premise being, or the idea being, to generate new perspectives and new work into council buildings like libraries, and start to use them in a dynamic way and in a creative way and in a way that wasn't necessarily their original purpose. So turning libraries, for example, into health spaces, art spaces, as well as spaces for information and readers. So that was 2016. So based on what I'd already learned, I decided again that I needed to audition, I needed to develop the plot further and develop the project as a whole, and I had about a year to do that. And that's what we did. I hired 5 dancers. I didn't use any public funds this time. I saved up, hired 5 dancers, professional dancers, and hired rehearsal space and all that sort of stuff, and spent 2 very quick, very fantastic weeks developing PREVAIL, and performed it twice up in St Helens for their arts programme in February 2016, and it was just such a joy, just a fantastic experience. And I was on a massive high and didn't really want to come down from that ever. But the one thing that was still bugging me, if you will, was that I wanted to see PREVAIL in a theatre space, and it be a part of something even bigger and even more recognised, and for a longer run. I didn't want my efforts to go unnoticed, so I decided I was going to take it to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. I asked the dancers would they be a part of that, and they said they would be, so that's where we're at now. It's going to be the same team, -1, so it's gone from a cast of 5 to a cast of 4 dancers, and we will rehearse in London for 2 weeks solidly, and then we will head to Edinburgh and perform for a week's run, and from the Monday the 20th of August to Saturday the 25th of August, 7:20 p.m, 50-minute show of a mini narrative dance work. Theatre is an expensive job, it's an expensive business to be in, nothing comes cheap. When you think of all the things that it entails, there's the dancers hire alone, then there's theatre rehearsal space, there's the theatre itself as well, there's accommodation, there's travel, there's insurance, there's advertising and marketing, lots and lots of things to think about. I would like to think that there's people out there that believe that recognise a similar story in themselves, that recognise that I have this idea, this passionate dream to get out of me a project that's always been a part of me. It's music, composing and theatre is in my blood and I have to get it out, but it's also therefore, it's not just about me, I want to engage people, engage an audience in something thought-provoking and interesting and enjoyable, and also generate conversation and discussion, and maybe see an element of themselves in the story, because it's a story that we've all been through, about unrequited love, or love that's denied, love that's forbidden, love that's not recognised, love that's secret. We've probably all been there, and it's in that sense it's a universal theme that will tug on anyone's heartstrings, I hope. And so I want to get it out there. I'd like it to be seen. There's also the second thing that, you know, the fight for the small independent artist. You know, I need help to get it out there. I'm not some big public funded theatre company. It's just me on my own, who's hired some dancers and a theatre and is going out there for the first time on his own doing this. And it would be nice to have some backing and support for the project. I'm going to do it anyway, but I just don't want to get bankrupt in the process. So if you can donate anything, that would be much appreciated indeed, to help me along the way, so that I don't have to be under so much pressure or financial restraint to put this project on. This piece of art, that would be very, very much appreciated indeed.